Morning, guys. So now we are getting ready to jar up the tallow, and we need to sanitize some jars, so we're going to do that the first thing. So we are all ready to start the day today, and I have all my canning jars out, a little more than I expect to actually use. I got both my canners out. I have some jars sanitizing that the tallow is going to go into. I have another round of tallow in the freezer ready to grind up and go into the crock pot. And then I'm also going to try and bake off 4 different chickens because they need to be baked. They're in the fridge and they're past their date. And then I'm going to make probably 1 batch of chicken broth. And then I'm also going to try and get in 1 batch of beef broth. So it should be an incredibly busy day, and I'm excited to bring you along. The tripod just broke. And so I just wanted to show you how much, after that huge crock pot that was completely overflowed, gigantically full, this is all the sediment that is left. Everything else is fat. And that's what you get when you do suet instead of just the beef, like the body fat or whatever. This is all that's left. And this is probably just the valves and any leftover meat particles that might have been in there. That's about all that's left when you're cooking with suet. These are some of my lard that I have. I don't know if I can show a camera well enough, but you can see on the bottom of this one, there's no sediment. And then on the bottom of this one, you can see, let's see if I can get an angle. You can kind of see the sediment that's at the bottom. So you're gonna get more of a pure fat if you actually run it through the coffee filter. You just get better results. But it works either way. So right now you can see they're just a nice like melted butter looking. They will lighten up pretty significantly and possibly turn white. It kind of depends. I know with lard, I don't know, but in my experience with lard, it just solidifies white kind of no matter what. From what I've seen and experienced, oftentimes with the tallow, if it's the suet, it will render and solidify kind of with more of a yellow hue, kind of like butter. So we'll see how it goes, and I will let you know what we end up with. So I decided to go ahead and have a bit of an experiment. My meat grinder was acting up, and so I just kind of gave up a little bit. And this is batch 2, the second batch. And so I ground a bunch of it, and then I just put the cut up frozen logs in here. And we're gonna see if those render down well, because when I was grinding it, I noticed that it was just crumbling apart. Like it didn't really need to be ground. So just a bit of an experiment. I figured I'd try it on a small scale in case it doesn't work. And I had it kind of precariously balanced here on this cutting board with a weird separator thing. And then that happened. And it all fell down. So we got a bunch I had to throw away because I'm not going to render that when it fell on the floor and in the garbage can. So yeah, just got to be careful. We'll see you in a bit, and I'll let you know how this goes. Next up for the weekend is going to be canning up stew meat. I have 30 packs of stew meat, and I'm going to can up as many of these as possible. I'm going to do a batch in here, which should fit about 18 pint-sized jars, and each of these packs is about 1 pound, and each of these jars, the pint jars, will fit about 1 pound. So I pulled out 19 and 18 fit in my canner, so hopefully that should be enough. If not, I have 11 more in my cooler outside. And so we're just gonna get started. I already have a video on that. I will link it up whichever direction it belongs. And so you can watch that if you'd like to, but I'm just gonna kind of give you a little snippet of my weekend. This one's just barely starting to stream. This one goes in. Now this is now the 4th time that it's come up to pressure, and I vented, started the timer, and then it kind of just crapped out and went back to it. So I'm going to turn it off. I don't know if it's tanner or what it is, or if it's the slow burner, but this one is doing just fine. It lost pressure one time, but it's maintained ever since. Now I'm going to put this one down. This is the first time I stand on the stove, so I'm watching it really carefully. So I just turned this one off, and I'm going to unfortunately have to wait for 75 minutes for this one to finish on this burner, and then I'm going to try moving this one to this one, and if that doesn't work, I'm going to go ahead and bring out my spare burner that I have. Actually, I think I'm going to try that now. I'm going to do that. Let's see what happens. Never done this before, but good to find out if it works. It's to show on camera, but I think we have a winner here. It's steaming. So, as you can see, it's now almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and this was a terrible idea. There's still tons of chunks in there, it's boiling, and it's just not working. So if you had any curiosity, even if you're doing suet, yep, you do need to grind it. So I'm probably going to pull out all the chunks, set them aside, let them cool, and then probably hand chop them into teeny little bits and throw them into the next batch, and try and get at least some out of it, and then filter through the liquid fat that's in there, and I'm going to jar that up for the next batch. So I just wanted to give you a little gauge for size here. This is the last bit, and these chunks of fat are gargantuan. They're amazing, and they just feel like giant gobs of like wax. They're super easy to cut through. The second batch, which became the first batch, is all done. Alright. We didn't have any of these break. I'm so excited. Alright, I'll meet back up with you when these stop boiling and they cool off, and I'll show you what we got. So the third round of the suet in the turning suet into tallow rather is all done. I'm going to throw this in the crock pot, and we're going to let it go for a couple more hours, and we'll see what we got. Hopefully we can get round 4, which should be the final round. Let's find out. So after I did round 3, after I cut up all of the pieces for round number 3 in the crock pot, I went ahead and cut all these up and put them in a bag and just left them in, the cooler or whatever. And I'm very thankful that I did that. I did that when I had time earlier in the day. Right now it's getting at 7 o'clock, and I still have at least 2 more canner loads, probably 3 of ground beef, and then I have to finish the round number 3 of the suet, and then pop in round 4, and hopefully that'll be done by tonight, but I don't know if all those will be done. And I had forgotten that I had the leftover chunky bits from round 2 that I also need to figure out how to cut those up and render them. So I got a lot of stuff left to do, so I'm gonna get on it and get these in the freezer. Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. This is awkward with you there. Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. My name is Anna. So I wanted to check in with you for the vlog portion of the beginning of Carnivember, and so far we have all of these canned up. The last 4 rows are tallow. It is so late, I'm so tired. They are the tallow, and then everything else is stew meat. I canned all of the stew meat that we got. It was about 30 pounds worth. So, and there's 31 jars, so pretty even Steven on that one, you know, kind of 1 jar per pound. And then over here, I'm just waiting for, my kitchen is destroyed, you're just gonna have to ignore it. It's normally clean, but right now, it's just too late to be clean. And then we have this station over here going on, and we have the fat that we just rendered. We are waiting for this one to drain off a little bit more. Then over here, I'm not supposed to do that, I'm sorry. Then over here, we have another batch of ground beef going, and I think we're gonna have 2 more batches, I think, of ground beef, maybe 3. We'll see how it goes. Over there, I attempted to move slowly, and I move slowly. Over there, I attempted to get the, to cut up the giant chunks that I failed miserably at trying earlier. But it was so difficult to cut them up that I just decided to put them in their own little pan, and they're just going to do whatever they're going to do over there, and I'm probably just going to toss them in the freezer just to make sure. Then, over here, we have the ground beef. Looks like we are in need of about 3 more jars in there, and that's what we're waiting on with this. Then, if that weren't enough, over here, we have the 3rd batch of tallow that I think is just about done. Let's find out. I've been so distracted with ground beef, I haven't really even done anything with it. Let's find out, shall we? Oh, I just put a little bit more in there from the spoon, but it is totally done. So as soon as we got this ground beef in the pot, we're gonna do round number 4. So excited. This is so much tallow. I think this might be maybe 2 years worth of fat for us. It is currently 9:15 p.m. and we're just getting started on the canner load. It's gonna be a late night again. Last night I think I was up until about 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock, and by the time I got my video edited and posted, I hope you guys watched that. That is the fermenting onions video. I know I'm a couple weeks behind on the vlogs, but I'm just trying to give myself a little bit of a buffer. The jury is sequestered and heavily leaning towards it's the canner, but we're going to give it one more shot. I turned the stove off, and now I just turned it back up to high. I'm going to give it one more chance, because the Presto the first time it did the same thing 1 time. So, it gets 1 try. After that, it's dead to me. Give up. Yep, give up. If y'all ever have to move a canner, make sure you wear sleeves. It's freaking hot. I've done it. I burned myself really bad. I'm just waiting for the steam to stop coming out of that spout, and then I'm going to move it to a different location. That's a little bit safer. It's not quite so precarious right on the counter where one wrong move, the whole thing just comes crashing down and explodes. kind of nervous about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the place that I had it before. I think that's pretty safe, and that's just where I'm gonna move it to. This has been at 0 pressure for quite some time. And this one is a little bit trickier because you don't have anything up front that tells you, hey, this is off of pressure. So what I usually do is I just kind of test it. I wait longer than I think it would be, and I'm usually wrong. And I take this, always grab it with a towel, and you see, you can hear that pressure is still in there. So I'm not gonna take that off just yet. I'm gonna wait a little while because I wanna make sure that there's not too much pressure in there so we don't get as much siphoning. All right, so now we're just going to take these out of the canner. I'm giving up on this canner. It is still fully charged. I don't know what is going on with that thing, but I keep trying to take the dew barber thing off, and it's still got tons of pressure in there, and I don't want it to siphon out a bunch of the liquid, so I'm just gonna leave it until the morning, and hopefully I don't end up with some kind of flat sour or something. So there's 18 jars of canned ground beef in there, and then plus another 10 here on the counter. And then we have, I haven't even counted, and then there's 28 jars of the beef. I don't know how we ended up with 28. I had 30. Maybe I can't count. I don't know, it's late. And then there are 28 cans of, or 28 pints of the tallow. And we still have even more, a little bit more on the stove. And we have one more batch ready to go in the freezer. So I hope you guys enjoyed coming along with me and cooking all of this amazing animal products that are just going to be ready to go on the shelf. And I hope you enjoyed your weekend as much as I did. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.